The great council chamber of Zenthera Prime had stood for 10,000 years. Its walls were made of crystal that caught the light of 3 suns. Today, those walls would witness a warning that nobody wanted to hear. Elder Thexamon walked slowly into the chamber. His body was old even by the standards of his people. The Krethek lived for thousands of years, and Thexamon had seen 5,000 winters. His skin was pale blue and covered in patterns that told the story of his long life. His eyes were completely black, like deep space itself. Behind him came the other elders. 6 of them in total. Each one had lived long enough to see civilizations rise and fall. They moved with care, their ancient bodies supported by walking staffs made from the heartwood of their home planet. The council members watched them enter. Some looked respectful. Others looked annoyed. The chamber held representatives from 43 different species. They sat in curved rows that rose up like the inside of a bowl. At the center stood a platform where speakers could address everyone. Ambassador Velcora of the Vexari sat in the front row. Her species was known across the galaxy for their perfect logic. The Vexari never made decisions based on emotion. They calculated everything. Their ships were the fastest. Their computers were the smartest. Their society ran like a perfect machine. Velcora herself had bright green skin and large eyes that saw more colors than most species could imagine. She wore robes that marked her high position in Vexari society. Next to the Vexari section sat War Master Drachnos. He represented the Drachnor Empire, the most powerful military force in the galaxy. The Drachnor looked like they were born for battle. Drachnos stood 8 feet tall with scales that could stop most weapons. His species had conquered 20 star systems through superior military tactics. He wore armor even here in this place of peace. It was a statement. The Drachnor were always ready for war. The Seraphim Collective had sent their diplomat too. The Seraphim were beautiful creatures that floated rather than walked. They glowed with soft light and spoke in musical tones. They believed in peace and understanding above all things. Their representative, singer Moraeth, hummed quietly as the elders approached. Thexamon reached the central platform. He placed both hands on his staff and looked around the chamber. The room fell silent. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Thexamon began. His voice was thin but clear. We come before you today with a warning. A warning about a species that will soon join the community of spacefaring civilizations. Another warning? Velcora's voice cut through the silence. Honored Elder, your people have brought us warnings before. You warned us about the Gentari. They became valued members of this council. You warned us about the approaching comet swarm. Your calculations were wrong by 300 years. Some council members laughed quietly. Others shifted in their seats, uncomfortable with the disrespect shown to the elders. Thexamon did not react to the interruption. We have studied a species called humans. They live on a planet they call Earth. It orbits a yellow star in a remote part of the galaxy. They have not yet achieved faster than light travel, but they will. Soon. A pre-FTL species, War Master Drachnos rumbled. Why should we concern ourselves with primitives? When they achieve space travel, we will guide them as we guide all new species. They will learn their place in the galactic order. That is what we must warn you about, another elder spoke. Her name was Kirashen. Humans will not accept their place quietly. We have observed them for 200 years. We have studied their history, their culture, their nature. They are dangerous, Velcora stood up. Her movement was precise and controlled. Dangerous? They fight with chemical explosives and metal projectiles. Their fastest ship barely reaches their own moon. Their planet is divided into hundreds of competing nations. They spend more time fighting each other than exploring space. What threat could such a fractured, primitive species possibly pose to us? You misunderstand the danger, Thexamon said. Yes, they fight among themselves. But this is practice. Humans have survived 6 mass extinction events on their planet. Their world has tried to kill them with ice ages, volcanic eruptions, diseases, and meteor impacts. Each time they survived. Each time they became stronger. Survival instinct is common, Velcora countered. All species have it. Not like humans, Kirashen said. Let me tell you what we observed. 300 years ago, their planet entered a period they call the World Wars. In just 30 years, they killed over 100 million of their own kind. They invented weapons that could destroy entire cities in seconds. They burned their forests, poisoned their air, and turned their oceans red with blood. This proves they are barbaric, Drachnos said. Not dangerous to us. You are not listening. Thexamon's voice rose slightly. After those wars, do you know what humans did? They did not retreat. They did not slow down. Within 70 years, they went from inventing powered flight to landing on their moon. They turned the same rockets they built for war into tools for exploration. They looked at the weapons that nearly destroyed them and said, "What else can we do with this?" The chamber was quiet now. Other council members leaned forward, interested despite themselves. Another elder, Greshtok, stepped forward. Humans have a concept they call spite. It means doing something difficult or dangerous just to prove others wrong. When their early space missions failed, when astronauts died, when rockets exploded, do you know what they did? They built more rockets. They sent more astronauts. They refused to stop. Every species has determination, Velcora argued, but her voice was less certain now. Show them, Thexamon said to Kirishen. The elder touched a device on her staff. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a human standing on a mountain peak. The human was covered in protective clothing against the cold. The wind tore at him. The mountain was one of the tallest on Earth. This is Mount Everest, Kirishen explained. Hundreds of humans have died trying to climb it. The air is too thin to breathe. The temperature kills in minutes without protection. Bodies of dead climbers mark the path to the top. And yet every year more humans attempt the climb. Not for resources, not for territory. They climb it because it is there. Because it is difficult. Because others said it was impossible. The hologram changed. It showed a human vehicle rolling across a barren landscape. This is Mars, Greshtok said. Humans sent this machine to another planet. It was supposed to work for 90 days. It worked for 15 years. When it finally stopped, humans mourned it like a fallen friend. They write songs about their machines. They name their ships. They pack bond with anything, even objects. Pack bonding? Singer Moraeth spoke for the first time. Her voice was musical and curious. Humans form emotional attachments to other species, to their machines, to ideas. Thexamon explained. A human will die to protect a creature that is not even the same species. They adopt animals as family members. They cry when their machines break. If you harm something a human has bonded with, they will not forgive. They will not forget. They will come for you. These are stories, Velcora said. Interesting observations about an unusual species, but not a threat to the Galactic Council. Thexamon struck his staff on the platform. The sound echoed through the chamber. You do not understand. Humans weaponize everything. They turned splitting atoms into bombs. They turned diseases into weapons. They turned their own genetics into tools. Right now, at this moment, humans have enough nuclear weapons to destroy their entire planet several times over, and they keep making more, not because they want to use them, but because the threat of using them keeps their enemies afraid. Mutually assured destruction, Kirishen said. Humans invented a doctrine where everyone loses if anyone starts a war. And it works. They have maintained relative peace for decades through the promise of total annihilation. War Master Drachnos laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound. So they threaten each other with death? This is supposed to frighten us? The Drachner Empire controls 20 systems. We have weapons that make their nuclear bombs look like toys. If humans become a problem, we will simply eliminate them. The elders looked at each other. Thexamon's shoulders sagged slightly. We are wasting our breath, he said quietly to the other elders. Honored members, Kirishen addressed the council. We have one final warning. When humans join galactic society, do not threaten them. Do not try to control them. Do not assume their kindness means weakness. If you push humans, they will push back, and they will not stop pushing until either you are destroyed or they are extinct. Velcora stood again. Honored elders, we appreciate your concern. But the Galactic Council has dealt with thousands of emerging species. We have protocols. We have procedures. We have the combined wisdom of 43 advanced civilizations. I think we can handle one primitive species from a backwater planet. Many council members voiced their agreement. The Drachnor delegation banged their fists in approval. Even the peaceful Seraphim seemed unconcerned. Thexamon gathered the other elders. They turned to leave the chamber. Where are you going? Singer Moraeth called out. Thexamon looked back one last time. His black eyes reflected the light of the crystal walls. We are returning to our sanctuary worlds. We have given our warning. You have chosen to ignore it. The colony ship Endeavour moved through space like a cathedral through darkness. It was humanity's first deep space colony vessel, built to carry 5,000 people to a new world. The ship was 3 kilometers long and carried everything needed to start a new civilization. Seeds, equipment, frozen embryos of animals, and most importantly, Aoi. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, looking at the stars through the main view screen. She was 42 years old with short black hair and eyes that had seen too many mission complications. She had been in space for 20 years, ever since she was a junior officer on the Mars colonies. Now she commanded humanity's boldest venture into the unknown. "Captain, we're detecting ships ahead." Lieutenant Marcus Webb called out from the sensor station. He was young, only 25, with red hair and freckles that made him look even younger. "Multiple contacts. Configuration unknown. They're not in our database." Sarah's heart began to beat faster. This was it. First contact with alien life. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries. "How many ships?" she asked, keeping her voice calm and professional. 12. No, wait, 15. They're arranging themselves in formation around us. Marcus's fingers danced across his console. "Captain, they're big. The smallest one is twice our size." "Communications, start broadcasting our friendship message. All frequencies," Sarah ordered. "Let them know we come in peace." The communications officer, Lisa Zhang, activated the message humanity had prepared for this exact moment. It contained mathematical sequences, images of Earth, basic information about humans, and most importantly, the message that humanity sought friendship and knowledge. The alien ships did not respond to the friendship message. Instead, they moved closer, forming a sphere around the Endeavor. The human ship was now trapped in the center. "Captain, they're scanning us," Marcus reported. "Deep scans. They're looking at everything. Our engines, our hull, our cargo. Let them look," Sarah said. "We have nothing to hide. Keep broadcasting our message." For 10 minutes, nothing happened. The alien ships continued their scans. The crew of the Endeavor waited, tense and excited. They were making history. Then the communication came. A face appeared on the main view screen. It was not human, but it was not completely alien either. The being had 2 eyes, a mouth, and what might be a nose. Its skin was covered in scales that shifted between red and orange. It wore what looked like military armor. "Attention, primitive vessel," the being spoke. The Endeavor's computer translated the words into English. "I am War Master Drachnos of the Drachnor Empire, acting on behalf of the Galactic Council. You have entered controlled space. You will power down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. This was not the friendly first contact humanity had hoped for. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Endeavor," she replied, standing straight and formal. "We are peaceful explorers from Earth. We did not know this space was claimed. We mean no harm." "Your intentions are irrelevant," Drachnos said. His voice was hard and cold. "This region of space is under Galactic Council protection. All new spacefaring species must submit to Council authority for evaluation and integration." "Submit?" Sarah's voice took on an edge. "We're happy to talk. We're happy to negotiate, but we don't submit to anyone." Another face appeared on the screen, replacing Drachnos. This being had green skin and large eyes. She looked more composed than the War Master, almost serene. "Captain Chen, I am Ambassador Velcora of the Vexari." Perhaps War Master Drachnos was unclear. "Let me explain your situation. You are surrounded by ships that are technologically superior to yours. You have no chance of escape or resistance. The Galactic Council has procedures for integrating new species. You will accept protectorate status. This means you will limit your population growth, you will restrict your territorial expansion, and you will surrender all military capabilities to Council oversight. These terms are not negotiable." Sarah looked around her bridge. Her crew stared back at her, waiting for her response. She saw fear in some faces, anger in others, but mostly she saw determination. "Ambassador Velcora," Sarah said carefully, "I appreciate you explaining your position. Let me explain ours. Humanity has existed for 200,000 years. We have survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that would have destroyed weaker species. We have fought and died for our freedom more times than I can count. We did not claw our way up from the caves of Earth. We did not split the atom. We did not reach the stars, just to surrender our freedom to the first aliens we meet. Your history is admirable," Velcora said without emotion. "It is also irrelevant. You are one ship. We are an empire of hundreds of worlds. You will accept our terms. And if we refuse?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. War Master Drachnos pushed back onto the screen. Then we will demonstrate why refusal is not an option. Sarah saw it happen on the sensors before she saw it with her eyes. One of the Draknor ships fired a weapon. A beam of pure energy shot across space and struck the cargo vessel that was traveling behind the Endeavor. The cargo ship, filled with supplies but no people, simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there. The next moment it was vapor and debris. The bridge of the Endeavor fell silent. Sarah's hands gripped the arms of her command chair so hard her knuckles turned white. That was a demonstration, Draknor said. His voice carried satisfaction. Your technology is primitive. Your ship is fragile. Accept our terms or be destroyed. You have one of your hours to decide. The communication cut off. The alien faces disappeared from the screen. Sarah stood up from her chair. She walked to the center of the bridge and looked at each member of her crew. Opinions? She asked quietly. They just murdered a ship, Marcus said, his voice shaking with anger. It was unmanned, but they didn't know that. They were willing to kill to make a point. We can't fight them, Lisa said. Captain, I've analyzed their weapons. One of those ships could destroy us in seconds. So we surrender? Sarah asked. We survive, Lisa replied. We accept their terms, we learn from them, and maybe in a few hundred years we'll be strong enough to negotiate better terms. Sarah walked to the view screen and stared at the alien ships surrounding them. Beautiful ships, powerful ships. Ships built by civilizations that thought they could dictate terms to humanity. Computer, she said, open a channel to Earth, maximum priority. Encrypt with military codes. Channel open, Captain, the computer responded. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Endeavor. Today we made first contact with alien civilizations. They call themselves the Galactic Council. They have demanded we surrender our independence and accept their control. When we hesitated, they destroyed one of our ships as a demonstration. Sarah paused, choosing her next words carefully. I am about to refuse their demands. This will likely result in our destruction, but I want everyone on Earth to see this. I want them to know what happened here, and I want them to know that humanity does not kneel. She turned back to the communication station. Open a channel to the alien fleet. All ships. The faces of Draknos and Velcora appeared again. Have you made your decision? Velcora asked. I have, Sarah said. Her voice was calm and clear. You made a mistake today. You assumed we would be afraid. You assumed we would value our lives over our freedom. You destroyed our ship thinking it would make us submit. She leaned forward. It didn't, it made us angry. Captain Chen, please reconsider, Velcora said. For the first time, Sarah heard uncertainty in the alien's voice. You want to know about humans? Sarah continued. Let me tell you about humans. We evolved on a death world, a planet that tried to kill us with predators, diseases, weather, and disasters. We didn't just survive. We conquered it. We turned wolves into dogs. We turned our deadliest enemies into our best friends. We climbed the highest mountains just because they were there. We split the atom and touched the surface of our sun. And we did all of this while fighting wars among ourselves that would have destroyed lesser species. Brave words from someone about to die, Draknos growled. Oh, you'll kill us, Sarah agreed. This ship is no match for your weapons. But you made one critical mistake. You did it in front of a live transmission to Earth. You showed humanity exactly what you are. You showed us that the galaxy is not full of friends waiting to welcome us. It's full of bullies who use force to get their way. She smiled, and it was not a nice smile. You wanted to demonstrate your power. Congratulations. You just demonstrated it to 8 billion humans. 8 billion humans who now know that space is not safe, that we need to build bigger ships, better weapons, and stronger defenses. You just gave humanity a common enemy for the first time in our history. You united us. Your world is light years away, Velcora said. By the time your people could possibly threaten us, we will have contained your entire species. Maybe, Sarah said. But you'll have to find all of us first. Did you scan our ship carefully enough to count our cryopods? Did you notice that we have 3 other colony ships already in flight? Did you account for the fact that we've been broadcasting our location and sending out probes for 50 years? Humanity is already spreading, and you just gave us a reason to spread faster and hide deeper. She stood up straight, military formal. 18 months had passed since the Endeavor incident. The Galactic Council had expected a quick war. They had expected to crush humanity within weeks, maybe months. They had fought primitive species before. It always ended the same way. The primitives realized they were outmatched and surrendered. Humanity did not surrender. War Master Drachnos stood in his command center on the flagship Eternal Victory. The room was large and circular, with tactical displays covering every wall. Each display showed a different battle, a different front in the war against humanity. All of them showed problems. "Report," Drachnos commanded. His voice was tired. He had not slept properly in weeks. His tactical officer, a young Drachnor named Kresh, stepped forward. "War Master, the situation continues to deteriorate. We have lost 7 more ships in the Proxima sector. 3 were destroyed by human suicide attacks. 4 were disabled by some kind of computer virus and had to be scuttled. How many humans died in these attacks?" Drachnos asked. "All of them, War Master. The human ships rammed our vessels at full speed. There were no survivors." Drachnos felt something he had never felt before in his long military career. He felt afraid. "They are insane," he muttered. "What species deliberately kills themselves just to take their enemy with them?" "A species that wants to win, apparently," Kresh replied quietly. On another part of the galaxy, Ambassador Velcora sat in her office, staring at reports that made no logical sense. The Vexari were masters of probability and calculation. They could predict outcomes with 99% accuracy. Their computers were the most advanced in the galaxy. None of their calculations about humans had been correct. Her assistant, a younger Vexari named Telvara, entered the office. "Ambassador, I have the latest casualty reports." "How bad?" Velcora asked. "We have lost 43,000 ships. The humans have lost 200,000. Yet they continue fighting with the same intensity as when the war began." Velcora's logical mind struggled with this information. "That makes no sense. They are losing ships at 5 times our rate. By all calculations, they should be seeking peace negotiations." "I have studied human history," Telvara said. "The humans have a saying, 'We will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them in the streets, we will never surrender.' It comes from one of their ancient wars, a war where they were losing badly but refused to quit." "Did they win that war?" Velcora asked. "Yes, Ambassador. They did." Velcora stood and walked to her window. Her office overlooked a beautiful garden on the Vexari homeworld. Everything was ordered and peaceful. "For now, tell me about their tactics," she said. Telvara opened a holographic display. Images of battles appeared in the air. "The humans do not fight like any species we have encountered. They ignore the rules of warfare. In the Battle of New Terra, they pretended to surrender. When our ships approached to accept their surrender, they detonated nuclear devices. They destroyed their own colony just to kill our fleet. That is a war crime," Velcora said. "The humans say all's fair in love and war. They do not care about our rules. They care about winning." Telvara changed the display. It showed a human soldier captured during a ground battle. "We interrogated this human. We asked why they would not surrender when they were clearly outmatched." "Do you know what he said?" "Tell me," Velcora said. "He said, 'We have survived things that would make you quit before you started. Ice ages, plagues, world wars, asteroids. We have been to the edge of extinction 6 times in our history. You are just another Tuesday.'" Velcora felt something she had never felt before. The Vexari did not experience emotions like other species, but she felt something close to fear. "Show me the worst battle," she said. Telvara pulled up footage from the Battle of Proxima Station. Velcora had heard about this battle, but she had not watched the recordings. The display showed a human colony built into an asteroid field. It was a small colony, maybe 50,000 people. The Galactic Council had sent a fleet of 300 ships to capture it. The colony was strategically important. It controlled a major supply route. The human commander at the station was Admiral James Park. He was an old man, 70 years old, which was quite old for a human. He had fought in Earth's last major war before humanity reached the stars. The Council fleet arrived and demanded surrender. Admiral Park responded with a simple message: "Come and take it." The battle began. The human defenses were impressive. They had turned the entire asteroid field into a weapon. Hidden railguns, missile platforms disguised as rocks, drones that looked like space debris until they attacked. The Council fleet was powerful. They destroyed the human defenses one by one. They lost ships, but they were winning. Within 6 hours, the human defenses were broken. The station was surrounded. Then Admiral Park sent his final message to the Council fleet. "You wanted this station. You can have it, but you won't enjoy it." The humans had rigged every asteroid in the field with nuclear weapons. Hundreds of them. They detonated them all at once. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. The entire asteroid field became a temporary star. Every council ship was destroyed. Every human died. 300 council ships. 50,000 humans. All gone in a flash of light. The recording ended. Telvara's face was grim. Admiral Park sent a message to Earth before he detonated the weapons. He said, and we bought them time. Make sure it was worth it. Velcora sat down slowly. Her logical mind was processing information it did not want to accept. They sacrificed an entire colony, 50,000 people, just to destroy our fleet. Not just to destroy the fleet, Telvara corrected. To send a message. The message is clear. Humans will accept any losses to win. There is no price too high. There is no sacrifice too great. Velcora pulled up communications from her counterparts in other council species. The Seraphim, who valued peace and beauty, were horrified by the human tactics. Their representative, Singer Moraeth, had sent a plea for peace negotiations. The Draknor Empire, however, was becoming angry. They saw the human tactics as dishonorable and wanted to respond with overwhelming force. The War Master plans to attack Earth directly, Telvara said. He has assembled a planet-killer fleet. He intends to destroy the human homeworld and all major colonies simultaneously. He believes this will break human will to fight. When? Velcora asked. Within 2 weeks. The fleet is already assembling at Draknor Prime. Velcora made a decision. It was not based on logic. It was based on something the humans had taught her. Intuition. Send a message to the elders. Tell them we need their counsel. The elders withdrew from council affairs. They will not respond. Try anyway, Velcora said. On a human ship, the destroyer Relentless, Captain Martinez was preparing for another suicide mission. His ship was damaged. They had been in 3 battles in the last month. Half his crew was dead, but they had a job to do. Captain, we've confirmed the location of the council supply depot, his tactical officer reported. It's heavily defended. We count 50 ships, and we're 1 damaged destroyer, Martinez said. He was young for a captain, only 35. He had been promoted quickly because so many officers had died. Tell me our options. We can hit them with our missiles, maybe take out a few ships before they destroy us. Or we can retreat and wait for reinforcements. Martinez looked at his crew. They were tired. They had seen too much death. But their eyes showed the same determination that every human showed in this war. Or we can ram their supply depot at full speed, Martinez said. Take out their supplies for this entire sector. Set them back months. His crew did not argue. They knew what needed to be done. Set course for the depot, Martinez ordered. Maximum speed. Send a message to command. Tell them we're going to hurt the enemy where it counts. The Relentless turned toward the enemy depot. The council ships detected them and moved to intercept. They fired weapons. The Relentless took damage but did not stop. Martinez watched his ship fall apart around him. Hull breaches, fires, systems failing, but the engines kept pushing them forward. For Earth, someone shouted. For humanity, others responded. The Relentless struck the supply depot at a significant fraction of the speed of light. The explosion destroyed 50 council ships and enough supplies to feed a battle fleet for 6 months. There were no survivors from the Relentless. Their names were added to a list that grew longer every day. A list of humans who had given everything for victory. Similar scenes played out across dozens of star systems. Humans fought with a ferocity that shocked their enemies. They used tactics that violated every rule of civilized warfare. They booby-trapped their dead. They sent fake surrender signals. They launched biological weapons, then destroyed their own infected colonies to prevent the disease from spreading back to their enemy. The Council had superior technology, better ships, stronger weapons. But humans had something the Council did not understand: the absolute refusal to lose. In one battle, a human transport ship filled with civilians was intercepted by Council forces. Instead of surrendering, the civilians armed themselves with whatever they could find and fought back. They used mining tools as weapons. They used their ship's engines as bombs. They died fighting. When Council troops finally boarded the ship, they found messages written in blood on the walls. We were accountants and teachers. You made us warriors. This is your fault. The Planet Killer fleet assembled at Draknor Prime like a gathering storm, 1,500 ships, the largest military force ever assembled by the Galactic Council. Each vessel carried weapons capable of cracking a planet's crust. Together they could sterilize a dozen worlds. War Master Drachnos walked through the command center of his flagship with grim satisfaction. This fleet represented the combined military might of 3 major council species. The Drachnor had contributed their heavy battleships. The Vexari had provided their advanced targeting systems. Even the Seraphim, reluctantly, had allowed their shield technology to be used. "Status report," Drachnos commanded. His second-in-command, General Kresh, saluted. "All ships are in position. Weapons are charged. We are ready to depart on your order, War Master." "And the targets?" Drachnos asked. A holographic display appeared, showing star systems marked in red. Earth, Mars Colony, New Terra, Europa Station, Titan Base, every major human population center. 1,500 ships will strike simultaneously. We have calculated the exact timing. All targets will be destroyed within a 6-hour window. The humans will not have time to evacuate or mount a defense. Drachnos nodded. It was a brutal plan, but necessary. The humans had proven they would not surrender. They fought with a fanaticism that the Council could not match. Every battle cost more ships than the Council could afford to lose. This war needed to end. "How many human casualties do we estimate?" Drachnos asked. Kresh hesitated. 12 billion, War Master. The majority of the human population, 12 billion. The number was staggering. Drachnos felt something twist in his chest. Regret, guilt. He pushed the feelings away. This was war. The humans had chosen this path when they refused to submit. "It will be quick," Drachnos said, more to himself than to Kresh. "They will not suffer long." What Drachnos did not know was that human intelligence had discovered the planet-killer fleet 3 weeks ago. What he did not know was that humanity had been planning their response ever since. What he did not know was that humans, when faced with extinction, became something terrible. On Earth, in a bunker deep beneath the Himalayas, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before a holographic display. The same Sarah Chen who had commanded the Endeavor during first contact. She was now the supreme commander of all human military forces. Around her stood representatives from every major human government and military branch. Their faces were grim. They all knew what was coming. "The Council fleet will be in position to strike in 72 hours, Sarah said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed the weight she carried. "Our intelligence indicates they plan to destroy Earth and all major colonies simultaneously. Can we stop them?" asked General Chenwei of the Asian Alliance. "No," Sarah said simply. "Even if we pulled every military ship back to defend Earth, we would be outnumbered 10 to 1. Their weapons are more powerful. Our defensive systems cannot stop planet-killer weapons." "Then we evacuate," said President Elizabeth Okonkwo of the African Federation. "We save who we can." "We don't have time," Sarah said. "Even if we started right now, we could maybe evacuate 1 million people. Maybe. That leaves 11,999,000,000 to die." The room fell silent. The weight of those numbers pressed down on everyone present. "So we're going to die," said Marshal Viktor Petrov of the Russian Republic. His voice was flat, emotionless. "Yes," Sarah said. "Most of us are going to die. But we're not going to die quietly. We're not going to die begging for mercy. We're going to die making sure the Council remembers what happens when you try to exterminate humanity." She changed the holographic display. It now showed Drachnor Prime, the heart of the Drachnor Empire, a heavily populated world with 5 billion inhabitants, the manufacturing center of the Council's war machine. "Operation Dying Light," Sarah said. "Every FTL-capable ship in human space, military, civilian, commercial, every single ship that can make the journey. We send them all to Drachnor Prime. We don't try to win a battle. We ram the planet. Every ship becomes a kinetic weapon. We turn Drachnor Prime into a graveyard." "That's genocide," someone whispered. "Yes," Sarah agreed. "It is. Just like what they're planning to do to us. The difference is we do it first. We do it while they're not expecting it. We do it before their fleet leaves for Earth." "How many ships can we send?" asked Admiral Zhao Ming of the Pacific Federation. "Every single one we can gather in 72 hours. Military estimates say we can assemble 20,000 ships. Most of them are civilian vessels, transports, colony ships, mining vessels. But each one becomes a meteor when it hits a planet at FTL speeds. 20,000 suicide attacks," General Chenwei said quietly. "How many people will die?" 150,000 crew, Sarah said. Volunteers only. And before you ask, we already have 500,000 volunteers. We're turning people away. The room erupted in arguments. Some called it madness. Others called it necessary. President Okonkwo raised her hand for silence. If we do this, we become the monsters the council thinks we are, she said. No, Sarah replied. We become survivors. The council tried to paint us as primitive and dangerous. They tried to force us into submission. When we refused, they decided to exterminate us. This is self-defense. Terrible, horrible self-defense. But self-defense nonetheless. She walked around the table, making eye contact with each leader. The elders warned them about us. They said humans were dangerous. They said we should never be threatened. The council ignored those warnings. Now they're going to learn why the elders were right. What about the civilians on Draknor Prime? Asked President Okonkwo. 5 billion people who have nothing to do with this war. What about the 12 billion civilians on Earth and our colonies? Sarah shot back. What about the children who will die when the council destroys our worlds? The council made this choice. They decided total war was the answer. We're just showing them what total war actually looks like when humans fight it. Marshal Petrov stood up. His face was hard. I will lead the attack. My ship will be the first to strike Draknor Prime. No, Sarah said. I will lead the attack. This is my responsibility. I started this war when I refused to surrender. I should finish it. We vote, President Okonkwo said. All in favor of Operation Dying Light. Every hand went up. Some quickly, some slowly, but all of them rose. Then we prepare, Sarah said. We have 72 hours to gather every ship we can. Every volunteer who wants to go. We tell them the truth. They will not survive, but they will save humanity. The next 72 hours were chaos. Ships from across human space converged on a staging area near the edge of Council territory. Military destroyers, colony ships, mining vessels, personal yachts, cargo haulers, anything that could make the journey, each ship filled with volunteers. People said goodbye to their families. They recorded final messages. They made peace with their deaths. A reporter interviewed one volunteer, a 50-year-old cargo pilot named Marcus Webb. Yes, the same Marcus Webb who had served on the Endeavour. Why are you doing this? The reporter asked. Marcus smiled. It was a sad smile. Because someone has to. The council thinks they can kill billions of us and face no consequences. They need to learn. If you kill humans, we kill you back, even if it costs us everything. Are you afraid? Terrified, Marcus admitted. But I'm more afraid of what happens if we do nothing. I'm more afraid of my daughter growing up in a galaxy where humans are slaves or extinct. At least this way she has a chance. We all have a chance. On Draknor Prime, War Master Draknos was conducting final inspections of the planet killer fleet. He had received reports of unusual human ship movements, but he dismissed them. The humans were probably evacuating their colonies. Smart but futile. The Council fleet would hunt down any survivors. He did not know that human ships were already in FTL transit. He did not know they were coming for his home world. He did not know that in 18 hours his planet would become a war grave. The human fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Draknor Prime system. 20,000 ships. They did not form battle formations. They did not charge weapons. They simply pointed at the planet and accelerated. The Draknor Defense Fleet responded immediately. They sent communications demanding identification. They received no response. They sent warnings, silence. Finally, they opened fire. Human ships died by the hundreds, but hundreds more kept coming. The defenders realized too late what was happening. This was not an invasion. It was not a battle. This was a mass extinction event. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her ship, the Avenger. Through the view screen, she could see Draknor Prime growing larger. She could see the defense fleet firing desperately. She could see other human ships dying around her. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. She broadcast on all frequencies. For Earth, for humanity. For everyone who died because the Council thought we were weak. Show them what humans do when you threaten our existence. The Draknor defenders managed to destroy 15,000 human ships, but 5,000 got through. 5,000 ships traveling at a significant fraction of light speed, 5,000 artificial meteors. The first ship struck Draknor Prime's northern continent. The impact released energy equivalent to 1 billion nuclear bombs. A crater 200 miles wide appeared instantly. The shockwave circled the planet. More ships followed. The southern continent. 5 years had passed since the destruction of Draknor Prime. The galaxy was a different place now. Quieter, more careful, forever changed by the war that the Elders had tried to prevent. The Galactic Council no longer existed. The Grand Chamber on Xanthera Prime stood empty, a monument to arrogance and ignored warnings. In its place, a new organization had formed, the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. The difference was in the name. Council implied control. Federation implied cooperation. Ambassador Velcora stood in her office on the Vexari homeworld, looking at reports from across the galaxy. The Vexari had been among the first to seek peace after Draknor Prime. Their logical minds had calculated the trajectory of the war. If it continued, both sides would lose everything. The math was simple. The decision was harder. A chime announced a visitor. Velcora turned to see Admiral Sarah Chen enter her office, except Sarah Chen was dead. She had died in the attack on Draknor Prime. Admiral Chen? Velcora said, confused. The woman smiled. I get that a lot. I'm Captain Jennifer Chen. Sarah was my mother. Velcora felt a strange emotion. Relief? Disappointment? She was not sure. The Vexari were still learning to process emotions properly. Humans had taught them that pure logic had its limits. Please sit, Velcora said. I apologize for the confusion. You look very much like her. I know, Jennifer said. She sat down gracefully. She wore a military uniform, but it was different from the war-era designs. Less aggressive. More formal. I'm told I have her stubbornness too. That is not entirely a negative trait, Velcora said. Your mother's stubbornness saved humanity, though it cost the galaxy dearly. 5 billion Draknor, 12 billion humans across all colonies. Countless others, Jennifer recited. We learn those numbers in school now. Every human child knows the price of the war. As do Draknor children, Velcora said. As do Vexari children. The war touched everyone. She pulled up a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. Human territory was marked in blue. It had expanded significantly in 5 years. Former council space was fragmented, with each species maintaining their own borders. You are here to discuss the treaty terms, Velcora said. It was not a question. The Vexari had learned to read human body language and tone. Jennifer had the posture of someone on an official mission. Yes, Jennifer confirmed. The Federation charter is almost complete. We need final approval from all founding members. The Vexari Collective is one of the last to sign. We have concerns, Velcora said carefully. The humans hold significant military advantage now. How do we know you will not use that advantage to dominate other species? Jennifer leaned forward. Because we remember what it felt like to be threatened with domination. Because we remember what it cost us to fight back. Because my mother died to protect human freedom. And I'll be damned if I dishonor her memory by taking freedom from others. Velcora studied the young woman. She saw sincerity, but she also needed assurance. The Vexari require logical guarantees, not emotional promises, Velcora said. Fair enough, Jennifer said. She pulled out a data pad. The Federation Charter includes several key provisions. First, no member species can demand another's submission. Ever. That's written in stone. Second, all military actions require majority vote of all member species. Humans can't just attack someone because we feel like it. Third, technology sharing is mandatory. Within 10 years, every species will have access to human FTL technology, and humans will have access to Vexari computers and Seraphim shields. You would share your technology freely? Velcora asked. This surprised her. We would, Jennifer confirmed. Because a galaxy where everyone is strong is safer than a galaxy where one species has all the power. Balance is better than dominance. That is remarkably mature for such a young species, Velcora observed. We learned fast, Jennifer said. Her voice carried weight beyond her years. War teaches harsh lessons. We learned that military power without wisdom leads to disaster. For everyone. There was a knock on the door. A Draknor entered. He was smaller than War Master Draknos had been and younger. His armor was ceremonial rather than military. Ambassador Velcora, he said, bowing slightly. I apologize for interrupting. I am Ambassador Kreth of the Draknor Remnant. The Draknor Empire no longer existed. After losing Draknor Prime and most of their military leadership, the Draknor had fractured into smaller groups. The largest group, calling themselves the Draknor Remnant, had sued for peace within months of the disaster. Ambassador Kreth. Jennifer stood and extended her hand in the human gesture of greeting. Kreth looked at it for a moment, then took it. It was a small gesture, but meaningful. Draknor and humans shaking hands in peace. I heard you were here, Kreth said to Jennifer. I wanted to speak with you. Of course, Jennifer said. Kreth sat down heavily. He looked tired. The Draknor had lost more than just a war. They had lost their identity as the galaxy's strongest military power. My people struggle with what happened, Kreth said. We were taught we were superior. That might made right. That weaker species should submit to stronger ones. Then humans showed us what true strength looks like. It was not what we expected. What did you expect? Jennifer asked quietly. Conquerors. Tyrants. Species who had won through violence would rule through violence. That is what we would have done, Kreth admitted. But humans did not conquer us. You defeated us, then offered peace. You helped rebuild. You sent supplies when we were starving. You could have let us die. Why didn't you? Jennifer looked out the window at the peaceful garden below. Because revenge is easy. Building something better is hard. We could have killed every Draknor in the galaxy. We had the capability, and honestly, we had the motivation. A lot of humans wanted revenge for everyone we lost. Why didn't you? Kreth asked again. Because my mother didn't die to make humans the new bullies of the galaxy. She died so humans could be free. But freedom only means something if everyone has it. Draknor, Vexari, Seraphim, everyone. She turned back to face them both. The elders warned the council about us. They said humans were dangerous. They were right. We are dangerous. But they also said we were fair. We've tried to live up to that. We've tried to prove that humans can be trusted with power. Velcora stood and walked to a shelf. She picked up a small object and brought it back. It was a piece of twisted metal. Do you know what this is? She asked Jennifer. No, Jennifer admitted. It is a piece of the Endeavor. Your mother's ship. The ship where this whole war started. We recovered it from deep space. It had been drifting for years. She handed the metal to Jennifer. The young captain held it carefully as if it were sacred. I kept it to remind me, Velcora said. To remind me that the elders warned us. That we ignored them. That our arrogance cost billions of lives. I never want to forget that lesson. None of us should forget, Kreth agreed. The war should be remembered. Not celebrated. Not glorified. Remembered as a cautionary tale. That's why we're building the memorial, Jennifer said. On Earth, on what's left of Draknor Prime, on Vexari Prime, on Seraphim worlds, everywhere. We're listing every name of every person who died in the war. All of them. Human, Draknor, Vexari, Seraphim, everyone. We're going to make sure future generations know the cost of what happened. What will you call it? Velcora asked. The Memorial of Ignored Warnings, Jennifer said. With a quote from Elder Thexamon, remember what happens when wisdom is dismissed and arrogance rules. As if summoned by speaking his name, a holographic communication request appeared. It was from the Krethak Sanctuary worlds. From Elder Thexamon himself, Velcora accepted the communication. The ancient being's face appeared in the air before them. Elder Thexamon, Velcora said, bowing respectfully. It is an honor. Ambassador Velcora, Ambassador Kreth, Captain Chen, Thexamon acknowledged each of them. I have been monitoring the Federation Charter discussions. I wanted to speak with you before the final signing. We would welcome your counsel. Elder? Jennifer said. I have watched your species for many years now, Captain Chen. Since before your mother made her stand, I have watched humans grow from a planet-bound species to a galactic power. I have watched you make mistakes and learn from them. Are we doing this right? Jennifer asked. The Federation. The peace. All of it. There is no right way, Thexamon said. There is only the best way you can find with the knowledge you have. But I will tell you this. I am proud of what humanity has become. You were tested in the worst way possible. You were pushed to the edge of extinction. You responded with terrible violence, but then when you had won, you chose mercy over vengeance. That is wisdom. We learned from the best, Jennifer said. The elders tried to teach the council. They didn't listen. But we did. After the war, we found recordings of your warnings. We studied them. We learned what you were trying to say. What did you learn? Thexamon asked. That power without wisdom is dangerous. That pride leads to disaster. That the youngest species can teach the oldest species if both are willing to listen. That survival isn't about being the strongest. It's about being wise enough to know when to fight and when to make peace. Dexamon smiled. It was a rare expression on his ancient face. The Krathak will join your federation, he said. We withdrew from galactic politics once because we were ignored.